Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scout Selections here on Saturday, October 5th. Before we get into today's play of the day, we'll quickly recap what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, we picked up a loss with the Nationals and the Dodgers over 7.5. Looked really good early. Kershaw struggled in the first 3 innings. Then he was great. Strasburg on 2 days rest ended up going 6 innings and gave up 1 run. Nationals bullpen definitely tried to blow it late, but the Dodgers ended up leaving the bases loaded stranded in the bottom of the ninth as we ended up picking up the loss. Unfortunately, been a bad run. No way to sugarcoat it. It's unacceptable, and we will look to bounce back. Now, in terms of today's video, I did not upload this video at its usual time because I didn't like anything on the Saturday card, but I do realize that in the past there's been some issues with Sunday on the NFL. Since I like to make my videos in the early afternoon and most of the games start at 1, I realized that if I would upload the video sometime tomorrow morning, then most of you would miss the play. So instead, I decided to give out a football play at 1 p.m., and I would be giving that out now so you'd have time to bet it. In terms of tomorrow's video, I will try to come up with a play for either the Sunday night game or maybe even a 4 o'clock game or maybe an MLB postseason game. But either way, we're going to dive right into this play of the day, and it's going to be a matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Oakland Raiders, and we actually like the Bears here at -5, which is available at FanDuel at -110. Now, this line originally was at -7, went down to -5 or even 4.5, and now it's starting to climb back up to 5.5 in some of the offshore markets, but it is still available at 5 and -110 at FanDuel, and I like the number there. Main reason why, a couple of things that we have to discuss here. Bears defense has been absolutely clicking in the last couple of weeks. Shut down the Vikings, gave up 6 points. They also had 6 sacks and 2 turnovers forced. They were great once again. Plus, their defense might be getting even better as Pro Bowl defensive tackle Akeem Hicks mispractice, but he is questionable, and he can possibly return for this game, which would be a boost to the already dominant defensive line of the Bears. Meanwhile, in terms of the quarterback issues, Trubisky has been ruled out for this game, which means that you should be seeing more Chase Daniel in this, and overall, Chase Daniel, I personally think, is a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky at this point in time. So I actually think that, kind of like what happened with the 49ers a couple of years ago, when Alex Smith got injured and Kaepernick took over and they ended up making it to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's that drastic, but in terms of the quality of performances, I think Trubisky's terrible. I've said it numerous times in this program, and I think that Chase Daniel will do a better job of stretching the ball downfield a little bit. I still think the Bears' offense won't do a lot, but I still think it'll do enough to cover the spread, especially with the injuries that the Raiders are facing. So while the Bears are mostly healthy, with the exception of Trubisky, who in my opinion is worse than Chase Daniel, and you have Akeem Hicks who's potentially returning, the Raiders are absolutely decimated with injuries right now, which should be I think it's going to be a serious problem for their offense in tomorrow's game. First of all, quick thing to mention, they will be without some key pieces on defense as well, as Vontaze Burfict, their middle linebacker. Regardless of whether or not you think he is a dirty player, which of course he is still at least he's an average to above average linebacker, and he will be out for this game as he has been suspended for the rest of the season. He's still appealing, but he will definitely not be able to play in this game. So they're going to have some issues in terms of linebacker depth. Plus, you also have their main weapon in the red zone, Tyrell Williams, who has a touchdown in every single game. He has actually not practiced all week, and he is questionable or doubtful in this game with a foot injury. So you don't even know if he's going to play, and even if he does, he will be nowhere near 100%. Now, the reason why this is important is because since Dwayne Harris, the kick returner and fellow wide receiver, is also dealing with an ankle injury, the Raiders could potentially have 3 healthy receivers on the entire roster. And the 3 receivers are Trevor Davis, Keelan Doss, as everyone knows from Hard Knocks, and Hunter Renfrow. Other than that, there is no other healthy receivers on the actual roster, assuming that Harris and Williams are not able to go, and they have to now face the best defense in the entire league. I think that's not going to go well at all. Plus, on defense, the Raiders' top 10 draft pick, Khalil Ferrell, defensive lineman, is also questionable for this game as he has not practiced in the entire week as well. So you have to wonder what his status is, which means that the Raiders could be missing their number 1 receiver, their number 1 defensive end, and the Bears could be getting a Pro Bowl defensive tackle back and potentially upgraded a quarterback. Plus, this game will be in England, so there will be no home field advantage to speak of. And the Raiders have already played a couple of games on the road consecutively, and they have a couple of road games after this. So the Raiders have been on a long road trip. That's not going to stop anytime soon. Bears are in solid form. They've won 3 straight. I think they will continue to shine here, and I think the Raiders should be able to win this game. I think the Raiders are going to score roughly 10 points. I think it's going to be really ugly. But in terms of the play of the day, I think the Bears should win by the score of 24-14, give or take. So I will take the Bears on. I think the Bears will win by roughly 7 or 14 points. So with that being said, the play of the day will be on the Bears at -5 at -110 on FanDuel, and that is for Saturday, October 5th. Now, in terms of some of the other leans on the 1 o'clock games that I want to be able to get to tomorrow, I'll go through the entire card because I know a lot of you want to hear my thoughts on the baseball, baseball as well. So I don't want this video to get too long. In terms of Tennessee Buffalo, Josh Allen has been ruled active to play. Still like Tennessee here. I think Buffalo is overrated. They beat the Jets, the Giants, and the Bengals. Congratulations. I don't think your team's that good. Tennessee is very hit or miss, but they do limit turnovers, and I think that they will win this game since there's pretty much no pressure on them whatsoever. It's not a primetime game. I think Mariota will do okay, and I think the Tennessee defense should get after Allen. Lean to the Titans there. I'll also lean to the Texans in this one, as I don't want any part of the Falcons right now, especially since their longtime punter Bosher is now on IR. I question on how good the replacement punter will be. They had some injuries. Keanu Neal's out for the year with a torn Achilles. Their secondary is banged up now. And after an awful offensive performance last week by Houston, I think that's going to be bombs away to Hopkins. And I think that Houston should put up at least 28 points. Lean to Houston and the over there. Lean to Baltimore -3.5. I know that Pittsburgh looked great last week. That was against Cincinnati. Everybody just relax. Baltimore lost to the Chiefs in a competitive game, and then they got destroyed by Cleveland. But at the same point, I just don't think Pittsburgh's a good enough team to be 3.5-point dogs here, and they should be more. Baltimore's a better all-around team. Pittsburgh has a solid defense, but I don't trust Rudolph and his dump-off passes. I think Baltimore should win this game, and I think Lamar Jackson's mobility should be able to give Pittsburgh's defensive line some issues. Lean to the Ravens on that one. Lean to New England also, -15. I know that it's a large spread. I don't think it really needs to be talked about. Colt McCoy starting for the Redskins. Didn't really matter who they're going to choose, whether it was Keenum, Haskins, or McCoy. New England's too good. Their defense is probably the second best defense in all of football. Brady was terrible last week. I think he will look to bounce back in this one. I think New England's going to win this game by about 28. I think this game's going to be a blowout. Lean to New England there. Now, in terms of the Cincinnati-Arizona game, this is very tough. I will lean to Cincinnati, though. Cincinnati's terrible, but they are at home, and Arizona's defense, in my opinion, is the second worst in all of football behind the Dolphins. Is Cincinnati good? No, but I think they will bounce back, and I think this game will be close, but I think the fact that Cincinnati's favored by 3, when looking at this game, I thought both teams would be separated by roughly a point or two. The fact that it's 3 is a little bit high for me. I think somebody knows something. Lean to Cincinnati on that one. Moving on, I actually will take Carolina here at -3. The line's been dropping from -4 to -3, but Minshew's been limited in practice all week with a knee issue, and Jalen Ramsey is not expected to play again. Carolina's looked pretty good since Allen took over as the quarterback, and I think that with McCaffrey in the backfield, I think this game will be close, but Carolina's defense is very underrated, and I think that with Minshew not having full mobility due to his leg injuries, I think that Carolina should get after him. Lean to the Panthers in that one. Lean to New Orleans here. I know that they've been bet down from 5.5 to 3, but at the same point, Tampa Bay was very good against the Rams. Congratulations, that was 1 week. New Orleans was able to beat the Cowboys at home by a couple of points. Cowboys are a better team than Tampa Bay. It's going to be in the Superdome. I think New Orleans should play well. Their defense has looked like it has fixed itself, and I think New Orleans should be able to control the time possession, and I think they will force Winston into some turnovers. Lean to the Saints in that one. Lean to Philly here against the Jets. Darnold's not playing. CJ Mosley's doubtful. Jets are terrible. Not really much to talk about there. Lean to Philly. I already gave out Chicago. Moving on, I like the Vikings -5.5 here. This line just simply is questionable to me. Based on how the Giants have played lately with Daniel Jones and how the Vikings played last week with all the controversy regarding Thielen throwing Cousins under the bus, the fact that this line is still at 5.5 makes me believe that somebody knows something. I saw a similar line in one of the first couple of weeks when the Vikings ended up destroying the Raiders. I believe it was week 2. They were favored by about 9 points, which looked very high. They ended up destroying them. I think that Minnesota should win this game by a touchdown. The Giants have looked a lot better with Daniel Jones as their quarterback, but they played the Redskins last week. Not going to overreact, and the Giants' defense is still terrible. I think Dalvin Cook will have a big day. Lean to the Vikings on that one. And now the 4 o'clock games. Looking through, I'm actually not going to go through the 4 o'clock games, so I might give out one of those as a play of the day. But in terms of the baseball card tomorrow, let me just look at that really quickly. In terms of some of the matchups here, with Wainwright and Soroka pitching for the Braves and the Cardinals, Braves are a small money line here. I will lean to the Cardinals, though. Soroka's been great in his rookie year. Wainwright's been very hit or miss, but his home and road splits are insane, and he's been really good at home. I think Wainwright will pitch well in this one. I think Soroka should struggle a little bit since it will be his first playoff start of his career, which, as we've seen so far in this postseason, has not boded well for pretty much all the pitchers starting their first postseason game. And in terms of the later game with Ryu versus Scherzer, I question how effective Scherzer will be, considering the fact that he did pitch an inning in Game 2. He struck out the side, he looked fantastic, but I do question on how effective he will be trying to come off of, 2 days rest? No, it's not even. It's 1 day's rest. He's on 1 day's rest, and you're throwing him out to pitch against Ryu. Ryu hasn't been great, though, in his last couple of starts in terms of... He was one of the favorites to win the Cy Young. He's still one of the favorites, but he was not nearly as sharp as he was in the beginning of the year. In terms of this game, I would lean to the over 8. I think that Scherzer will pitch pretty well, but I think he'll be limited in terms of innings. And Ryu is hit or miss. I'll lean to the over, as the Nationals bullpen's also a gas can. So I think this game should lead to at least 4 runs by each team. Lean to the over in that one. But the play of the day for Saturday, October 5th, will be on the Bears -5, which is available at -110 at FanDuel. Other than that, though, that's going to do it for this installment of Scott's Selections here for Saturday, October 5th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.